Have you ever watched the behind the scenes of a movie or a TV show you like? And there's always a part where they show the storyboards, right, as they're planning the show. And if you're an independent or solo filmmaker or creator, it's pretty intimidating, especially if your drawings look like this. But today I'm here to talk about why I think storyboarding is an essential part of any kind of narrative or commercial filmmaking or video making, regardless of the scope or size of the production, and even if you're a terrible artist. First of all, your storyboards are not meant to be masterpieces of art. They're there to help you plan and visualize your story. You may be thinking, well, I'm a one-man band. I don't have a DP or a co-director or whatever to communicate my vision with, so I don't need storyboards. Well, storyboarding isn't just about communicating with a team. I think it's about clarifying your own vision to yourself. Imagine preparing for a presentation. You've written your speech down, you've proofread it, but a presentation isn't just about the words you've written, it's about how you say those words. And this is why we rehearse. Some things sound great when they're written, but then when you try to say them out loud, let's say you're rehearsing in front of a mirror, you realize that maybe it's a little unnatural or clunky, so you have to modify some of it. Storyboarding is kind of like rehearsing for a video shoot because you're seeing if your ideas work well visually. Let's say you've written about a man that's walking to a store. How are you going to show this? Are we going to show the man at home when he leaves home to go for the walk? Are we going to show a wide shot of him walking down the street? Are we going to go close up on his feet and his eyes? Why are we making those decisions? Is it a frantic walk? Is it a relaxed walk? How's the camera going to move? Is it going to be a stationary frame where he walks through the frame, or are we going to track alongside him? All these little decisions that you might not be making when you've written it, you realize you have to make as you are trying to sketch the ideas out, however bad your sketches are. But you know how you're trying to recall a dream to somebody and it just seems to fade every moment? It feels like that. You're kind of picturing the story in your head and you try to grasp onto it and get it onto paper as quickly as possible with no regard for quality. If you do have to communicate this storyboard with, say, a client or an agency or whatever, then you can redo them in a more polished format after the fact. You'll notice immediately you're starting to make decisions that maybe you weren't considering when you had written the story. Things like composition, things like camera movement. You'll have to consider them now because you're drawing it, you're turning it into a visual medium. So leave a little room next to your drawing so you can jot down notes about, say, lighting or camera movement or music or sound effects or dialogue or whatever. The side tip, I find my most effective storyboards, at least that first draft, is when I do them on paper. And there's two reasons for that. I'm not a digital illustrator, so the intuitiveness of paper, pencil, and eraser are a lot more natural to me than a digital device like an iPad or a tablet of some sort, because with those you have like all these different brushes and you have layers and you have undos and you have warp it, and you get caught up in all the details that are not necessary when you're first just trying to get your ideas onto paper. Also, these don't have Wi-Fi connection, so you're not as prone to distractions. So while yes, if as a filmmaker you were also a great storyboard artist, that would be incredible. Let's say like James Cameron. I don't know if you've looked at his work, he's an incredible illustrator. But for us mere mortals who can't really draw, we can kind of, fumble our way through a drawing, I think storyboarding still has tremendous value in helping you clarify your thoughts and answer questions that you didn't even realize needed answering. Fun fact, Hayao Miyazaki of Ghibli Studios, arguably the most famous animation filmmaker in the world, doesn't start with a script when he's creating his movies. He starts with the storyboard. He uncovers the story through this long, grueling process of just drawing and figuring out the story visually. I highly recommend this documentary I found online. 4-part documentary called 10 Years with Hayao Miyazaki. They followed him around for 10 years while he was making several of his films. And they kind of really go deep into his creation process, which includes the storyboarding and working with a studio and tensions with a son. I'll leave a link in the description so you can check it out. If you've never done a storyboard and you're thinking about doing it, just do it. Don't think of it as a work of art. Think of it as a planning tool that's gonna make your video a lot better. But yeah, that's it. If you got value out of this, consider subscribing for more content on filmmaking and photography. And otherwise, I'll see you later.